Thanks to the EA Creator Network for providing me free codes for The Sims 4. My opinions are my own. You get an update, and you get an update, and you get an update. Well, except for you, Sims 3. You already had an update some weeks ago. But yeah, wow, I thought we were just getting an update for The Sims 4 today, as they previously advertised on Behind the Sims. But turns out we already got patches for The Sims 1 and Sims 2 Legacy Editions. That's one heck of a way to celebrate The Sims 25th anniversary. Not even counting the expansion pack teaser that I already uploaded a video about. So let's talk about the Sims 1 and Sims 2 Legacy Edition fixes first. For Sims 1, they fixed a few different issues with Alt-Tab and Alt-Enter. So Alt-Tab or Alt-Enter can sometimes cause a crash. Alt and Enter could sometimes cause the Windows title bar to be hidden. Alt and Enter could sometimes not toggle between full screen and windowed modes. On some systems, the Sims can appear to launch and then immediately exit with no splash screen displayed. The Sims should now launch in most situations. In some cases where there is an underlying graphics issue, the Sims will display a message. Some players are unable to click on various parts of the neighborhood map. Oh yes, I did hear about that one. The travel screen when traveling between neighborhoods and worlds can sometimes appear garbled or glitched. The Sims might crash if you are not on the default neighborhood, interact with another Sim, and then save. When using Alt and Enter to cycle window and zoom sizes, the HUD could be clipped. At this zoom level, the Sims will now instead clip from the top of the screen. In some situations in windowed mode, the title bar might not be visible, and the family friends counter could sometimes not be visible. Yeah, that's good they fixed that one, because in The Sims 1, you often need a certain amount of family friends to get promoted in your career. Moving on to Sims 2, Alt-Tab or Alt-Enter can sometimes cause a crash. Some players on the EA app received an error message indicating that certain needed files were corrupt. The game would sometimes crash after creating a family. The game sometimes launched at a small resolution, 800 by 600, and then scaled that small format to fill the entire monitor. In certain situations, the game will launch and then immediately show a DirectX error requiring use of the -W option to work around the problem. Sometimes a Sim or multiple Sims would disappear after the player moves to another lot or neighborhood, or after leaving and rejoining the game, despite saving. Sometimes non-adult Sims, like children and pets, would disappear. Some interactions that result in a transferable reward, like a dog returning from work, can cause the game to crash and address some infinite loading screen issues. And that is it. So hopefully both games play a lot more smoothly now. Because of me having been on vacation very recently for most of January, as well as them just going wild with so many announcements lately, I've barely had time to even touch both games. I've poked around a few community lots while listening to their amazing soundtracks, but that's it. I really am interested in doing a gameplay video of The Sims 1 though, because I haven't played that in quite a few years. Now let's move on to The Sims 4. Initially I was very confused because I assumed we were going to be getting a patch, and then hours later I'm like, where's the patch notes? I know sometimes they take a long time, but this is really weird. And then I open my game just to see that it's just the biggest Sims Delivery Express drop we've ever received, with all of the 70 plus free items, as well as the start of the new Blast from the Past event that is running until March 18th. This event plays much like most of the previous ones, where you do some quests in order to get some exclusive rewards that you can only get while this event is running. And it features Emmett Relevart, the time traveler NPC from The Sims 3 Into the Future, which, by the way, is time traveler spelt backwards. One thing that's different about this event, though, is a few of the rewards are new gameplay items. For example, in week 2, there's an alarm clock that you can get that's functional. Though if you buy the Comfy Gamer kit, that little Simsy worked on, that has an alarm clock too. Week 2 also has a buffet table, it looks like. And then in week 4, there's this birthday cake, which is much like the one from Sims 1 where a dancer comes out of the cake. Though instead of it being a pre-designated NPC, this time around you have your sim able to jump out of the cake. So for better and for worse, events now include new gameplay items, giving you more incentive to complete these events, but also for those of you who can't or don't want to do these events, unless you mod your game, you're out of luck. So I think this just makes these events even more of a pain. So many of the games that I play now have limited time events in some form, so this is more of a criticism of the modern gaming industry in general, rather than only The Sims, but it's one of the last games that I play that could just work as an escape from those, and now it's not anymore. As for the other items that are not tied to the event, I think they're pretty good, add a lot more selection to a bunch of different categories. And before I forget, Ashifi on Blue Sky, one of the producers on The Sims 4, did mention that there is an issue with the party dress where certain shoes cause lines to show up on the dress. So they are aware and they're fixing it, but doesn't have like an exact time as to when that fix will show up in the game. It's not the first time I've seen that sort of issue pop up, so that sucks that this keeps happening. As much as I would love to go through every item as I typically do, I just cannot do it this time for a couple different reasons. It's hard to know what's new if you don't constantly play the game, because they don't have a filter for the newest free items added through an update. Like with packs, yeah, they have those filters, but not in the case of these Sims Delivery Express drops. And also, with them announcing things left and right, it's just so hard to keep up with everything. I mean, I even had to interrupt this video because of them already teasing an expansion pack announcement happening tomorrow. Like, what the heck? So, yeah, I didn't want to just have trailer footage on repeat, though. So I just got some footage of some personal highlights. For example, I think my favorite part is actually the new shoes. So there's 5 in total. There's one that's only for the feminine frame by default, which is a pair of heels. And then there's a pair of shoes that by default is only available under the masculine frame. But I think they all look great. Like, wow, I'm shocked just because with shoes, I often just go right for the ones from the various DLCs, because I feel most of the base game shoes are pretty blah in comparison. So it feels weird, but in a good way, that I'll actually use base game shoes more often now because of these new ones. I also love that new curly hair. Also, the cardigan and the skirt are new. Now here's some of the masculine items, like the new jacket, a pair of shorts, and the shoes that I mentioned, and the socks are new as well. I feel like it's so rare that we get new pairs of socks, so that's really cool that we have one for free in the base game. And I zoomed in on his face there because his goatee is new. Now for a few more Creative Sim items, there's a new hairstyle. It also has an ombre variant, and there's a new cap, which I think looks really good. Like, I feel like a lot of hats in The Sims 4 are pretty chunky, but this one's nicely sized. And then there is a new scarf, which I like a lot better than the one from the Cozy Celebration event. I think the texture is done better on it. And there's a new bodysuit, which I thought was a t-shirt at first. But yeah, that was an interesting surprise. And then there's a new pair of leggings. It looks like it's the same one, but its many swatches are spread across a few different entries that are all next to each other. There's also this new jacket that you see briefly here, which I think is going to be in the merch shop, because the default swatch is in English, but the one you see here is the Simlish variant. So thank goodness there is both instead of it just being English like we've had with certain items in the past. But there's all the new hairstyles. Well, not all of them are new. Only 2 of them are new, but Some of them are actually updated hairstyles that we've already had, but now have baby hairs attached to them. I thought they were going to give us separate versions that have the baby hairs and then have the non-baby hair version still, but nope, looks like they actually replaced them entirely. I wish they would go back and update more of the textures of the 2014 hairs though, because they did that with the afro textured ones a while back, but I wish they didn't stop there. There is also one new hairstyle for toddlers, which is adorable. I mean, the younger age groups always need more hairstyles, so very much welcome. Now for build buy, I had to show off the new kitchen set, even if I'm not the best at showing these off in the most elegant way possible, but it's just like the kitchen sets in the base game have gotten so stale and repetitive. It's so refreshing to have another kitchen set for free, so I expect many builds over the next few months to have these. And I also got to give a shout out to this particular window because it's actually a remake of a window from The Sims 1, the single hung window. And the HBD means happy birthday, actually. So that's even more of a giveaway that it is a throwback to that. So that was my most used window back in The Sims 1. So yeah, I appreciate that very much. The wallpaper I use here is also new. I like that there is a matching bar for the kitchen set, though I wish they had gone a little farther to have a matching fridge and stove as well. And I gotta mention this lovely Moments family pictures. What's really cool about this is that they have Sims that match up with a particular world in each swatch. You may recognize some of the Sims. I believe most of them were only in trailers. However, there's Umber and Juniper Grove in that Chestnut Ridge themed one. So that is cool, a bit of trivia there. Does kind of feel like we should have gotten this last year for The Sims 4's 10th anniversary, but better late than never, I suppose. That's pretty much it. So with The Sims 1 and Sims 2 Legacy Editions, hopefully they run better now, but they have indicated that they are still working on more fixes, so that's good. I hope they continue to support these Legacy Editions, at least for a while. And with The Sims 4 Sims Delivery Express drop, I will admit, I was hoping they'd sneak in some kind of surprise, like, say, burglars, but I'm still pretty happy with what we got in the end. All in all, a happy 25th birthday to The Sims. It's amazing, really. Like, I've played so many video games over the course of my life, but none have come close to the impact that The Sims has had on my life. Just the experiences I've had, the people I've met, even some of the game developers, and using this game as a creative outlet. It's just been really interesting looking back on my time with this game. I've been playing The Sims for over half my life, and this whole franchise has been around for a quarter of a century now. Just, oh my gosh. You don't always know how long something is going to last, but it is amazing looking back and seeing something that's made such a huge impact on pop culture like The Sims and what it's done for so many people, including myself. To some, it is simply a pixel people simulator where you try to prevent Sims from starving themselves or wetting the floor, but to some, it means a whole lot more than that. But feel free to let me know your thoughts on these updates I talked about in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe if you'd like to keep up with my latest gaming content. I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching.